Okay, well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Delighted to have a full house here this afternoon. I hope we managed to live up to your expectations. My name's Simon Lande. I'm the CEO and founder of ActiveStandards, and accompanying me is Max Duley, who's a digital standards and quality manager at Bupa. Bupa, of course, needs no introduction. You'll be familiar with Bupa as a global healthcare leader. ActiveStandards, probably fair to say you're less familiar with. Our business is website quality management. We provide a software platform that helps enterprises manage the quality and integrity of their content online. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is how Bupa have used a standards-based approach to create a high-quality digital experience across their entire web presence. Let me start. If you can't hear me, please shout out. I didn't realize it'd be quite so noisy out there, but please just raise a hand if I'm not loud enough. Let me start by setting the scene with what we call the digital... Sorry, that shouldn't have come on. The Digital Content Governance Challenge. So many of the organizations, maybe most of these organizations in this room, are faced with the following issue. You're publishing content out, not just on one website, but probably to multiple websites. In addition to that, you're doing it across multiple platforms. It's not just going to the desktop, it's going to all sorts of mobile devices. And it's going into multiple channels. So again, it's not just the standard websites, there's all the social media channels, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever it may be. On top of that, you're probably in many cases doing it in multiple languages, and it's managed by multiple people, and you'll have a whole lot of standards that you're looking to follow, from usability to accessibility to your own brand standards to general best practice standards. So the challenge that you face is trying to get the balance right between quick real-time publishing and compliance with all these various issues. And just to illustrate the scope of the problem, we did a survey last year over 900 global websites that revealed that basic preventable errors were widespread on over 95% of the pages that we found over those 900 websites because of the difficulties of reconciling those two slightly opposing dynamics. So, for some reason we've got a slight mismatch on the scrolling. From our point of view, it starts with standards. That's the building blocks of any good website. Once you have standards in place, it ensures that you optimize the user experience, ensures that the brand and reputation is protected because there are very clearly defined rules about what you can and can't do, ensures that your risk is mitigated, and it reduces costs and accelerates time to market because everyone is operating off the same, if you like, web services kit when they're rolling out new markets, new templates, new websites, new campaigns. And it also, if you've got multiple sites, enables you to compare like with like and facilitate compliance measurement. Now, standards to some degree has a bit of a bad rap. It's going to stifle our creativity. It's going to restrict what we can do. But there's a very important message that we always put out, which is something that has been promoted very heavily by one of the leading web governance gurus in the United States, Lisa Welchman, which is standards is not just about restricting what you can do, but enabling collaboration. And of course, the web itself is built and based on standards. Lisa's conclusion is that standards not only enable collaboration, but that you have to define the DNA of your web in order for real collaboration to take place, and that most organizations today simply cannot operate effectively and efficiently without standards. So that's the background. Let me just briefly explain a slide or two about where we come into this. So ActiveStandards provides a three-tier platform. Tier 1 provides a knowledge base to help you define the standards you need. Accessibility, usability, SEO, mobile, whatever it is that you need to use will be defined within that hub. We then, the core of the platform, will scan the content of all your websites to ensure compliance against those standards. So that's about finding and fixing errors and auditing your assets and enabling you to track that progress against time and ensure that everyone's got the buy-in to that so you can set clear key performance indicators. One final point, that anything to do with standards is very important in an organization to make clarity about where the process actually sits. So ActiveStandards sits outside of the CMS. You've got your content management system platform there. You publish out to your live websites, And what we do is patrol both the live content and enable you to monitor the content pre-publication. Clearly, you want to head off as many errors as you can before the content goes live, but the fact is, however many pre-publication checks you put in, there's no substitute for monitoring the live content, so we do that as well, so you've got both sides covered. Finally, when you are engaging a lot of people within this type of process, it involves often a change in their workflow, it's very important to try and create what we call a standards culture. So you can take what's called the policing element, the enforcement element, in terms of the monitoring capability that this would provide to ensure that everyone's compliant. But far more productive, we find, within the organisations we work with, is to take the empowerment element, because people, they don't like to be controlled, but they do like to add value. And by evangelizing the benefits of standards, both for the customers, which is the ultimate end goal, and for the people that are operating and managing the websites, because it makes their life easier, those are the sort of key messages that really get the buy-in, especially when you've got multiple people managing multiple websites. Okay, so with that brief introduction, I'm now going to hand over to Max, who's going to talk about how Bupa have used this approach across their web presence.
Hi everyone, I'm Max Duley. I'm the Digital Standards and Quality Manager at Bupa. It's a global position. I work at the head office in Holborn, and many of you will know Bupa as one of the UK's most famous healthcare companies, but there's a few things that you may not know about us. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of background. So we have business units all over the world, including Asia, Australasia, and in the Americas. We have customers in over 190 countries, and we have a number of ambitions for the next few years. We want to become a healthcare partner to millions more people around the world. We want to be the most trusted and recommended healthcare company, and we want to be known for our obsession with quality, and that's where I come in, because I'm trying to improve the standards and the quality of our global digital presence. Just a little bit about our web estate. We've got tens of thousands of pages. We've got something like 15 business units, all of which have at least one website each. Some of them have several. We have a very devolved publishing model, so we have many, many editors. Nothing is centrally controlled, so there are lots of different people publishing content to all of our websites. And there's no integration, so almost every single one of our websites is on a different platform. That's because of the acquisition model that we've had over the years. We haven't forced our new business units to take on an existing platform. And we are trying as hard as we can to maintain some consistency across our global web platform, despite the fact that we have a very decentralized model using lots and lots of different platforms. So we still aim to introduce as high quality a user experience as we can. So in order to monitor and improve your standards, you need to know what they are, and ActiveStandards has a really useful tool which they introduced a few months ago to help you with that. It's called the Standards Hub, and it's a suite of about 15 different standards types, which you can complete simply by filling in a questionnaire format. You add in your standards. It's important to say this tool doesn't tell you what your standards should be. You enter in your own standards, and it takes that data and automatically creates a suite of very user-friendly standards documentation covering a wide variety of areas, including accessibility, SEO, usability, but also your own brand standards. You can then customize those, rebrand them, republish them on whatever platform you want. So the standard documentation is built on the following principles. They're clear and unambiguous. People can understand what they want. It's written in the language of the people that are using it. And it's very specific about what you should and shouldn't do. It provides checklists and screenshots. And like I said, it's created with the target audience in mind. So the users of ActiveStandards, the content editors, will understand the language of the standards documentation. And what we found is that it's very, very useful to get the buy-in. As Simon was saying, people don't like to be told what to do. They don't feel like they don't want to feel like this tool is there to police them. What we found is if we can explain the business benefits of following the standards, they are much keener to use the tool to improve the quality of their own content. And we explain how it supports our business goals to increase reach. So, for example, better accessibility helps us to reach our aim of reaching millions more people worldwide. And the other important thing that these documents do is they set out the compliance and risk elements of not meeting some required standards, such as accessibility requirements. So I'm just going to run through some of the actual interfaces that you'll see if you're using the tool. First of all, from the point of view of the actual web editors who are charged with improving the quality of your content, each website in the tool, and you can have as many as you want. We have more than 20 different websites being monitored. Each individual website has its own dashboard from which you can see some of the high-level errors and have access to view, for example, the worst pages, or to be able to identify the type of errors that you have, whether they are brand related or accessibility related or SEO related. There's a task-based navigation, so it's very, very user-friendly. You can tab through to review the content in a variety of different ways, and people find their own ways of working with the tool. And it's designed for non-technical marketeers. So you don't necessarily have to have a knowledge of HTML and web editing to use this. The actual interface can integrate with your CMS as well and take you precisely to the page where you need to fix the error. What we're seeing here is a list of a selection of Bupa's standards. We're currently looking at the page for broken links. On the right-hand side, we have a list of pages where broken links have been found. The user can then simply click on one of these links, and it brings up a visualization of the page on your website that ActiveStandards has detected and shows you where the broken link is. And like I said, you can then click through directly to the CMS if you have that integration in place and fix the error immediately. ActiveStandards also produces an inventory of every page and file type that it picks up when it's scanning your website. So you can very quickly audit what you've got. We find it's very useful to audit, for example, if we no longer sell a product, we can ensure that we've removed every reference to that product on our website by creating a checkpoint to audit that for that content. It gives you a nice list of all of your content types, so you can view every image that is picked up according to size, according to the date that it was published or the date that it was picked up, and a variety of other content assets, including metadata and compliance-related elements such as cookies. And each user has the ability to track their progress over time. And on the right-hand side here, you'll see a selection of downloads. So you can download detailed reports as often as you like. They are time-based, and I use the data out of those reports to produce a variety of MI which gets reported to our board. On the web manager side, the people that are overseeing the development of our websites, there are a further few ways to track the progress. So we have a number of business units that use our bupa.co.uk website, for example, and each one of those business units has its own section, but in order for us to be able to monitor how the site is doing as a whole, we've grouped all of those sites into one bupa.co.uk section. And likewise, you can create as many sections as you like and monitor groups of websites together. It creates a league table for you, so this is one of the things which we found really, really useful, because what it does is it introduces a little bit of friendly competition between our business units. They do like to compete with each other to get further up the list, and as a standards manager, quite frankly, I don't really care why they want to improve their websites. I only care that they improve their websites, and if they want to do it because they want to beat their neighbours, that's fine with me. But it also helps you to keep, to create an idea, a little bit of competition, to push people towards improving the quality of their content. And again, you have a number of KPI-related reports that web managers can use to focus on things such as the most frequent errors that they have on their websites. So here we can see that we're doing quite, wrong button. We're doing quite badly on keeping sentences short. It's something that we try to push to create content that's nice and concise for writing for the web, but not a lot of our editors actually comply with it. But what we can also do here is we can see that when we click through to that error, most of our errors are on 3 or 4 of our websites, so we can concentrate our efforts when it comes to improving our content. We don't have to waste resources in all of our business units if most of our errors are restricted to a few of them. The various checkpoints within ActiveStandards can be grouped into particular areas of interest, such as accessibility, brand. For example, we have a number of brand-related checkpoints, such as using the correct colours, not using certain phrases, and using certain language. ActiveStandards allows us to analyse all this, and so that different parts of the business who have different expertise, such as SEO, can pay attention to the areas which they're specifically interested in. So, finally, just to summarise the benefits of using consistent standards, you improve the overall user experience, you engender trust, and you maximise the actual potential of your website, and ensuring that customers are more likely to come back and to engage with the content. You can manage your reputational and legal risks, so making sure that you are covering off your accessibility requirements. Most of the countries that we operate in have legislation requiring a certain level of accessibility. The cleaner your metadata is, obviously, the better SEO you can have. And we've found that, in fact, one of our Australian businesses recently reported a 40% increase in visits from natural search results to a particular section of their website. And this is a result that they could only put down to the use of ActiveStandards. And finally, protecting your brand, making sure that your content is following your own internal brand guidelines, and increasing productivity. One of the things that we've found is that through use of ActiveStandards, our business units have a better understanding of how to get it right in the first place. So they're actually now introducing specifications into their digital developments to make sure that they don't have to go back and fix things, that they're actually getting things right the first time round.
Okay, thanks, Max. Just in the final couple of minutes, well, hopefully that's given you a good illustration of how the sometimes potentially perceived as dryish area of standards can actually deliver some very tangible business benefits. Just to give you a very short flavour of some examples from other sectors that we've worked with. We work with AXA, the large global insurance group, and in their Spanish division, 70% of the personal products keywords and 90% of the business keywords are in the Google top 10 now as a result of taking action on the sorts of SEO points that Max has raised, whether it's page titles or putting the right tags on images or all those various more sort of granular components. And they've had a 30% improvement from 2012, and they've actually doubled the improvement of non-branded searches since March. So this, of course, because they're actually doing business online, then this is the ultimate goal, has helped them significantly increase conversions. Moving to another sector, KPMG, the global audit and accountancy firm, they've again dramatically improved their SEO ranking, both within the community of organisations that we work with and in general terms, in terms of the score that they're now achieving. And their search traffic has again increased by this sort of 30-35% mark, 36% in their case, over the previous year. So again, reinforcing the practical benefits that can accrue from the actual actioning and implementation of these issues. Finally, with Hewlett-Packard, it's not just about, as I say, increasing the conversions or areas like SEO. Again, as Max alluded to, there can be a big time saving, especially if you've got multiple sites, multiple people in multiple jurisdictions. Enables people to free up their time. It's a big number crunching effort to keep an eye on the quality and consistency of content, but what you want to be focusing your web managers, your web editors on is actually producing really good content. So by letting us take care of the standards component, that frees up an awful lot of internal time and resource. There's also a big educational element required that's built in both to the platform and the way that we engage in terms of our software as a service model. People are much more disposed to fix something because they understand why it matters, rather than just because they're told that they have to do it. And so if people understand why a particular error has occurred, sometimes it's obvious, like a broken link, sometimes it's more subtle. It may be to do with certain types of more technical standards, and building that educational element in is very important. And again, I think almost out of time, but there was a big SEO gain at Hewlett-Packard. Finally, just to look at it, there may be some people here from the digital agency side. We work with LBI, that's one of our larger digital agency partners, and they are using ActiveStandards amongst their client base to really ensure the websites get optimal user experience and maximize the impact of their digital marketing strategies, and head off what can be very significantly commercial negative impact on basic usability errors. This could be spelling mistakes, not only regular typos, but there's plenty of examples out there, which I'll only say briefly, which can be particularly embarrassing. If your own company name is misspelt or your own products are misspelt, then that erodes a lot of trust in your brand, especially in the online world where the competition, of course, is only one click away.